So today we've got a very special guest, and I suppose we go back, for those of you that don't know Rob, I'll let Rob introduce himself pretty soon. There might be a few people that have not heard of Rob Nixon, and if you haven't, that's okay. We'll introduce you to him, his clubhouse, as well as his golf course, as well as his goal to get into publications, and he might even show up a few things. So, but today is about talking about something that we're pretty passionate about, and I suppose I've known Robbo now for, I don't know, mate, maybe close to 20 years. I'm not sure.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and just a quick show of hands. I know we're into screen 2 and everything. Who can remember the good old days of results accounting systems? Let's see if there's anybody.
Accountants boot camp. Anyone old enough?
Anyone old enough? Yeah, exactly. So the good old RAS boot camps with Paul Dunn, and Paul, obviously still a very good mate of Rob's, and probably that's where Rob and I first started to know each other. We went up against each other probably in the early, I don't know when it was, mate, maybe the 2000s, where we had our different coaching clubs going on. And I still remember one of the days, Rob, where Rob spoke at one of our conferences a few years ago, got him across, and I still remember one of the firms saying, "Hey, PJ, why would you get one of your competitors to speak at your conference?" I said, "Mate, it's not about that he's a competitor or not. It's about the message. It's about his knowledge. It's about his expertise. And more importantly, it's what he continues to teach the accounting industry and the results he gets." And that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, because some of the stuff that Rob's been doing with firms over the years, sorry, let me just continue to admit a few people. Some of the stuff that Rob's been doing with firms over the years and what he's doing today is fantastic. Our topic today we're going to talk about is the wealthier accountant and becoming a wealthier accountant. If you're already, you might be wealthy and you might be thinking, how do I become wealthier? So Rob, welcome, mate. How are you?
Great. Good to be here. Looking forward to getting to meet new people and a few oldies that I've known over the years as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I might just get you to, again, just walk us through. We'll be online for about probably the next 40, oh no, sorry, I'll take that back, about 37 minutes or so. We've got a fair bit to get through, but it is important we address where you are, and there's a fair bit of publicity. So if you've just joined us, I'll let you maybe give us a bit of a background, not just a background of behind you, but also a background of yourself, and maybe just a little of a background on what you've built there as well in your new property.
Yeah, cool. So team, since May 1994, I've worked exclusively with the accounting profession, 18 countries so far. I've trained about 185,000 accountants, coached over 600, added about $1 billion in profit to the ones who directly coached, written a bunch of books. The most recent one, this one here, The Wealthy Accountant. Don't know if you've got or not. We moved about 5,000 books the first few months. So I believe we're giving a free book away to everyone today as well, Jancy. If you haven't got it, you'll get it. Number of companies in there. And most recently, 2.5 years ago, decided to rebuild the coaching business. So right now I'm coaching firms in 5 countries: Netherlands, UK, Canada, USA, and Australia. Small group, 64 max, and helping them kick butt, make money, have less time. So that's the bio bit. I'll just give you a quick little intro as to where we are. So I live northwest Brisbane, about 35 k's from Brisbane in the countryside, and bought this property 3.5 years ago. And as soon as I saw the property, I said, that is my golf course. So I built a golf course in the front yard. The golf course is 27 holes. We finished it about May, June last year. We have 109 members, so those are the golfers. We have, let me tell you, this is a massive not-for-profit. There's no fee. Good bottle of wine for the seller. It will get you lifetime membership with your name on it. And just yesterday, first of all, back in April, we got publicity in Golf Digest magazine, and they called it the best backyard golf course in the world, which is pretty cool, which it is. Yesterday, and Nathan's already seen it, 2-page spread in the Courier Mail. I can't believe it. I'm actually a centerfold. Who would have thought? It's actually right in the middle. And today, I've been on radio today with it. On Sunday, Channel 9 News is coming out. And the big one Monday morning, if you're into this, Monday morning, live cross to Koshi on sunrise at 7:20 Brisbane and 8:20 Southern States. So that's a bit of fun. This is the clubhouse. So we have a golf course out there. This is inside the clubhouse. Clubhouse is also the workspace. What you see behind you is the wall of hats. So the wall of hats indicates the top 100 courses in the world and the top 100 in Australia. And so the world list is sort of off the charts for the minute until we can travel again. And I collect a hat from everyone that I play at. So I've done 24 of the world list and 56 of Australia. And only 50 people in the world have done the world 100 list. It's super hard to do. So there you go. That's a bit of fun for you to start off.
Brilliant, brilliant. And look, that's one of the great things. I think one of the great things that, and if you know Rob, you know he loves his golf, and he used to travel to all parts of the world. And one of the things he used to do was play golf at those parts of the world. So, which is brilliant.
Still do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're looking forward to that when when countries open up. Let's get into today. And again, I know there's a number of you on here, and I've muted most of you, and if you're not, but we're happy for this to be as interactive as you would like it to be and ask as many questions. We're going to sort of challenge a little bit of the 2020 mindset and how that can move into 2021, and from your own sort of leadership point of view, from your own systems and your process point of view. I'm going to talk to Rob about what he's been able to create. One of the great things about Robbo is that he's very good at creating new ways of doing things and challenging the status quo to what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. And we're going to talk about his profit time index. We're going to go through that. And then finally, to everybody that's on here, we're going to take you through a bit of a, call it a live assessment. And it's a lengthy assessment. So we'll take you through a little bit of it, and you'll have the ability to, every single one of you, to do this in the next 7 days or today, if that's what you choose to do. It's online, and then you'll get a report, and Rob's going to actually show you what that's going to look like as well. So you get a takeaway as a bit of a Christmas gift from us and from Rob, so that you can start thinking about how things could change for 2021, the new calendar year and out of COVID. So Rob, let's start with your thoughts. Now, you mentioned you've been coaching, I sort of lost a few of the numbers there, but I know you coach a lot of firms. Exactly. And I think you mentioned more than, you've had increase in those businesses by more than $1 billion.
In profit, yeah.
In profit, correct. Yeah. Not just in revenue, because we always spoke about profit's more important than revenue. Revenue could be about ego. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yep.
So what have you seen this year, and certainly with the firms you've been coaching, in terms of what call it the change in leadership that people are looking at? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so first of all, I can't talk for the wider profession, but I'm more in touch with the direct ones we work with. All of them are up in revenue, and some more than others, some 30, 40, 50%. And typically the firms I work with, by the way, $1 million plus, typically 1 to 5. All are up in profit, but they've had a chaotic year like you have, right? So it's been busy as the whole work from home thing is a bit of a curveball. But I think what's happened is, I talk to my firms all the time about this, the best thing that's happened about this is communication acceptance levels have changed forever, right? I've had 3 firms completely ditch their office and go 100% virtual. You may be that right now. We've had firms go, oh, well, we can get team members anywhere. Like, they haven't been in the offshoring world, so now they're thinking about that. And the whole work from an iPad. It's been fascinating to see firms doing, like across the US, doing virtual sales meetings on Zoom and presenting end of year work on Zoom. No meetings can take place. So the innovation has been pretty cool. And I see no reason why it needs to go back to the way it was. So I think leadership in leading your clients into the way you want to do business. For some of you, this has been the first time you've used Zoom with clients. For some of you, right? Some of you have been at it for a few years. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. So what have you seen with the firms? Again, you can only speak on behalf of the firms that you're working with. So what have you seen as some of the major changes for the firms to go through the increase in their profitability, for them to look at what they are going to be changing?
Yep.
Is there a common thread there that you can see, 1, 2, 3, these are the key things that the firms are doing and implementing and then getting a greater result?
Yeah, so let's go through a bit of a process. I've only got 4 or 5 slides, so I've only got 15 minutes, or unless PJ asked me a bunch of questions, 15 minutes of what I wanted to present, right? So I had a friend around last Friday, not an accountant, a friend doing other things, and he said, "Tell me about the process." And I've got this thing called 5 questions, which I'm going to take you through. I said, "There's actually 2 parts before the 5 questions. And this is all about called business by design, right? And the 2 parts before the 5 questions in changing the way that your business operates. Part 1 is an extensive bucket list of achievements you want to do in your life, right? That's part 1. What does the list look like? Part 2, what is the number for financial retirement? What is your number needed to support that list that for your lifetime, right? So you don't have to work anymore. So you've got revenue coming in, profit coming from whatever assets outside of the business, so you can enjoy that bucket list. Part 3, right, which we want to get into, is designing this business your way. So I want you to think of your current business as a blank sheet of paper, right? There's nothing on the bit of paper. There's no clients, there's no systems, there's no people, there's no offices, there's nothing, right? Now, I know unless you're a brand new startup, you don't have a blank sheet of paper. You've got, you've got things going on, you've got clients going on, team members going on, all that sort of stuff, right? I was given the gift of a blank sheet of paper 2 years ago. And so 2.5 years ago. So I want you to assume blank sheet of paper, and what we're going to do is redesign it our way, right? Whatever way you want. And you can do this. It takes time to do. These 5 questions, when you answer them properly, will take you 3 to 4 hours of solid thinking time to answer these 5 questions. That's if you want to change. We're assuming here, PJ, they want to make a difference in the firm, right? They want to make a difference. That's the assumption. So if you don't want to make a difference in the firm, tune out, have your glass of wine, and I'll see you next year, right? So, but if you do want to do something different, start with these 5 questions. The answers to the 5 questions will be your business rules going forward. And the hardest thing you'll do is not answer the 5 questions. The hardest thing you'll do is actually adhere to the new rules, right? So here's the 5 questions. Ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Cool. All right. Question 1. Question 1. What do you want your business life to look like? We're going to start very selfish here. I believe that as a business owner, partner in a firm, equity holder, it starts and stops with you. You're the most important person in the firm, not the team members, not the clients. It's not the client's bloody business. It's not the team member's business. You've got your signature on everything. It's your credit card. It's your house against the line. It's your overdraft. It's your PI insurance, all that. It should start with you. So what do you want your business life to look like? Right. So when I started this business back in June 2018, I wrote a bunch of rules down. I did this for myself, right? Things like travel. If it's 2 weeks or more, my wife comes with me. Travel must be front of plane. Travel must have a driver at each end. Travel must be 5-star as a business life. Business life. I only want to do this type of work for these type of clients, right? What do you want your business life to look like? How much you work, how much you don't work, you personally as a partner. Question 1. And get brutal, right? We haven't got long on this planet. And business should be part of our life, not consuming our life, right? Question 2, what do you want your numbers to be? Far out. I've seen some fantastic wealth created out of the accounting firm. I've got a firm I'm coaching right now in North Carolina. Got him to $1 million profit after 2 years, sole practitioner, does about 2.4 in revenue. And I interviewed Kevin about 2 months ago. He said the following: I've got the lifestyle sorted. Now I'm creating generational wealth. He's 49 years old. Love that. What do you want your numbers to be? If you want a 500 grand profit business, then you can do that. If you want a 5 million profit business, then you can do that. I coached a firm, sole practitioner, now does 17 million in revenue and half profit. Whatever the numbers can be, whatever. If you don't want an office, if you want multiple offices, who cares? It's what you want. If you want negative work in progress, if you want no accounts receivable, the numbers. If you want no productivity for you, the partner, it's a number. What do you want as far as numbers? So for me, for this business, it was maximum 64 clients at any one time to coach, right? As a number. And I wanted this revenue, this profit, and that would support me, right? So what are your numbers? Question 3. Your products and services. What products and services do you want to sell? I just jumped off. I had a session with some of my US firms this morning, and we're talking about packaging and products, right? I said, just sell and deliver what you want to sell and deliver. Just because the client wants that doesn't mean you have to jump to the cry of the client and do it, right? So what are your products and services? What do you want to deliver? At what number of margin, right? Question 4, your culture. One of the things for me was no office, right? From the get-go. I have a standing desk here. I have a space there, which I sit down from time to time. And my wife has a little space over here. That's it. There's no, I had one of my team here the other day, came in for a meeting, right? We had nowhere to sit because we don't have a conference table. I said, Michelle, we've got nowhere to sit, right? So we'll sit around the fire pit or something like that, right? So culture, how do you want your culture? Design the way you want it, you know? And that includes, do you want a full virtual team? Do you want type of people? Why would you put up with mediocrity when there's so many accountants to hire around the world? You know, do you want no team, but you have them all on demand, contractors? You decide your culture, right? What culture do you want? Number 5, in order, by the way, clients come last. Now decide exactly the avatar of exactly who your client is going to be. Size, shape, scope, niche market, so on and so forth. Yeah, because business by design, what happens is business by default, right? Here's business by default. Business by default starts with clients, and you pander to your clients. We get more clients by referral. Holy shit, we need some people. Culture kicks in, we don't design it. You know, oh, the clients want this as well. You kick in these new services, government changes the rules. Oh, my numbers suck and life isn't great. Business by default goes 5 through 1. Business by design goes 1 through 5. You decide. If you operate under a scarcity mentality, you'll accept all comers, you'll do anything that the clients pander. It's not the client. Whoever invented this, and I used to preach it, by the way, the customer's always right? It's a load of hogwash. Seriously, no. It's your business. Design it your way. Answer those 5 questions honestly, and create business rules around it. It'll take you a few hours, and that's okay. It's an important task. Great time of year to do this, by the way. And then sort out the blank sheet of paper by getting rid of the bits that shouldn't be on there. And that includes people, right? Far out. You know, if you wouldn't enthusiastically rehire them, well, why are they there right now? And as Forrest said, that's all I've got to say about that.
And spot on the money. So look, business life, numbers, your services, your culture, your clients. Again, we said we were going to do this. So really, really important. We're going to open up some lines and start talking about that soon. If you've got any questions, happy for you to do that. Robbo, we might just, I think most people might have taken that off.
That's cool. I'll keep going. Pop questions in. I'll pause.
Okay.
So we're designing it our way, right? I'm not an accountant, as some of you know who know me, but I love numbers, right? So I invented this number last year or this year? Can't remember. Last year was. Invented this number that to me is the ultimate outcome number of technology fits into culture. And the ultimate outcome number, thanks, Mark. I'm going to talk about tech in a bit, right? The ultimate outcome number of how well your business operates, how well your accounting business operates. And so this number I call, PJ alluded to it, the profit time index. This is an output number of how well your business operates, not your practice, but your accounting business. And I got thinking about this and thought seriously hard about it. Okay, we can have input numbers like client hours and, you know, we can have number of clients, etc. But what about an output number? What, at the end of the day, what's this all about? And to me, it's all about having loads of time for you, the partners, and loads of money, right? The beautiful equation. So what is the number and how does it work? So first of all, the profit time index is the profit before partners' salaries divided by total in time worked by the partners. So in time class is anything client work. You're working in the business, right? Michael Gerber coined the phrase in '86, work on versus in. Oops, we've just got, why is that?
Okay,
the on has disappeared. That's cool. I'll read it out, right? Something happened to my slide there. So in time is client work charged or not charged, reviewing work, administrative work, management of people, HR, IT, etc. The things that the business needs to do to keep the wheels turning. On time is anything that's growth orientated, leverage orientated, business development, right? Not doing what the business does, but developing the business. So products, developing products, sales meetings, etc. On versus in. So because the more on time you spend, the more profit and time you'll have, right? And so the more in time, you'll have a healthy income, right? For sure, you'll have a healthy income, but what about the time? And so you need to work this number out for you. I get my coaching firms to measure it every month. Every month, what's your PTI? What's your PTI? What's your PTI? The most I've seen so far is about 20,000. Actually, from a Brisbane firm. I interviewed Ray about this. Ray Taggart, after 10 years, I worked with him for 4. After 10 years, does 1 hour a week of working in the business. Ray's from Stones Corner here in Brisbane. 1 hour a week, makes over $1 million a year. 50 hours, $1 million, 20 grand. What's your number? Now, when you work it out, because all the work that you do goes into this number. If you're like 0 to 250 and be honest about the number, you're probably overworked and underpaid. 250 to 500, you start to make a little bit of money, but what about the time? You might be hitting 300 or 400 grand profit at this point in time. 500 to 1,000. Let's start to fix it from here. Interesting on 4 and 5. Leverage is kicked in, going great. At 4 and 5, typically the profitability is about $1 million, right? But what happens at 4 and 5, sometimes you get too comfortable as a partner in an accounting firm and you're not really trying that hard. So the challenge is get to 6 and then double it from here without doubling the time. Let's get some leverage into the business and let's work out who is going to do the work, not how the work is done. You hire the right who's, they'll work out the how. Why does it need to be you? You've got an accounting business, not accounting practice. Accounting practice, practitioners do the work. Accounting business, we run it as a business. Firm I coach in Kentucky, sitting about 6,000 right now. She works literally, she makes about 600 grand a year and does about 100 hours a year of work, right? Literally. And so but it is more in you yet, right? And once you get around this 7.5 to 10 grand figure, typically you've got a corporate structure in place and it's time to go big or go home. So we're a little gradient there for you, looking at this number as an output number. And the next phase is, okay, well, how do we change the number, right? Because whatever the number is what it is. And I'd encourage you to consider this number as part of your Christmas planning with the 5 questions. Go, holy dooly, for the calendar year of 2021, and be honest about it, right? We made this much profit per partner, but this was the partner working in time. Divide that into that, and there's your number. Make a decision. Now we get into, okay, that's the reality. It is what it is. Let's now get into how do we change it, right? And this is where tactics and strategy comes into it. Mark, certainly technology is part of that as per your question. But the objective here, I think, why you're doing this is more meaning, freedom, and lifestyle. That's the objective here. That's what you're doing this for. I want more meaning of work. I want freedom to do what I want. And I want a great lifestyle because I'm the partner and the spoils should come to me. So we measure other numbers. Some of you still measure it out. I see a couple of coaching firms here, which is cool. Average hourly rate, efficiency, number of clients, average fee per client. We measure revenue, profit and cash, and profit time index. And depending on how effective and your speed of implementation will determine how that number grows of the profit time index at the output. So I put this into 4 pieces, right? Fix, minimize, scale, and lead. So 4 distinct chunks of strategy that you can implement. Some of these already done, right? But we're going to get you a score. I'll show you how to do this. Score yourself on how well you've done these 40. And so under fixing data operations, pricing up front, price increase, consistent price increase. One of the firms this morning from Texas I was working with, he's done 3 price increases, 25%, 25%, 25% in 18 months. He lost 60 grand's worth of clients, right? Gained 400 grand worth of profit. Sweet, good deal. Value pricing. Some of you think you value price, very few firms do. MRR, monthly recurring revenue. In March and April, for some of you who don't do this, some of your cash flow was pretty crap in March and April this year. If you had monthly recurring revenue as the majority of your revenue, it wouldn't have been a problem. Managing scope, creep, scope, seep. You've sold that job, do that job, don't do anything else. That's outside of scope. Lock up reduction, removal of work in progress, removal of accounts receivable. I'm running a $4.5 million business. I'm owed 9 grand. That's my accounts receivable. That's it. That's a choice. It's a choice. Sorry, it's not a choice I made $9,000. It's a choice the way the business was designed. And client mix, only A-class clients. Client service program, what's the customer service program? And what's the communication process? What's the cadence of meetings? Fixing things, strategic things, minimizing time. Objective is speed, fast throughput. Workflow management, what we call client excellence coordinators. This role started in Gladstone, would you believe? Now we've got firms all over the world having the client, we now call the client excellence coordinators. Time budgets on jobs. First book came out in 2010, and in it, I made a mistake. I actually said you should get rid of timesheets. And ever since then, I've regretted putting that in print because it is not the right thing to do. Get rid of charge rates, hourly rates, keep the timesheets. Measure the time under budget, manage your team, time down, right?
Right, spot on.
Technology for the firm and the clients comes under here, Mark. Better tech, seamless process on tech, faster throughput, minimizing time. Looking at systems and processes, finding the best way to do things. L&D, what's the learning and development of your team? And then partner time. How brutal are you on how you spend your time? I like to get the partners that I help, no more than 30% of their time is high-end work only. So only high-end work for partners, 60% in a sales capacity, 10% in leadership, right? Driving the performance of the firm. Scaling the business, brand development. So what does the brand stand for? What does the external world see you as? You can shape this whatever way you want. Client goals documented, where, understanding that the role of the trusted advisor is making sure that all clients are buying all services that they need that helps them achieve their goals. That's your objective team. Helping a client achieve their goals, selling them solutions to help them achieve their goals. So have you got them documented, right? You know what they are. Find the opportunities in every piece of compliance. Mark, 30-60-10, no more than 30% of partner time, so about 500 hours, in high-end client delivery work. You can make it 100 hours, 200 hours, but no more than 500. 60% thereabouts of time in a sales capacity, 10% in leadership driving performance of the business, right? We can hire a business manager for admin. We hire marketing people for marketing. I've got firms hiring salespeople for sales, but getting brutal about partner time. Niche markets, deciding exactly who we're going to target. Whatever market that is. John Thornett in Perth, 100% pharmacies all over the country, right? I've shown him my mastermind model. He made his first sale to a pharmacy. He started a mastermind model for advisory. He's probably going to build that into a $2 million business in the next 12 months or so.
That's awesome.
Pharmacy, as an example, right? Lead generation. What's the lead gen program? Getting A-class leads through the door all the time. Only A-class leads, right? You won't talk to anyone else because your client avatar, your prospect avatar looks like this. And productization of services, looking at how do we productize that so the partners don't need to do it? How can we get someone else to do it? Management, accounting work, budget, cash flow forecast, sales process, sales skills. Always fine-tuning sales process and sales skills. And then for the team component for scale, are they onshore, offshore, outsourced, or all the above, the 3 different models? Leading the business. So vision, mission, what is the BHAG, the Big Hairy Audacious Goals? What are the values of the business? What's the org structure? What's the operational plan? That is a one-page plan that we get our firms to use. Reporting and accountability, what's the cadence of meetings? What's the scorecards? Team culture, team performance, and then themes and celebrations and meeting rhythms wraps up the process of these are the big strategic items to nail. Jancy. Lucky we're recording this because that was fast.
Well, exactly. So to everybody that's on the line, I am recording this and I will send it to you, I promise. Okay. So typical Robbo, he's got 1,000 miles an hour, which is good. And the great part about this is, and this was the whole idea of today's session, was about challenging what you've done in the past and how you change that for the future. There's been a number of really, really proactive firms that have done some great things. I love that you mentioned John Thornett's name there. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Great lad, and obviously doing some fantastic things there in that niche market of pharmacy stuff, which is fantastic. I'm going to open up the lines because we will send this to you. So don't worry about, it's great that you might have written down a few things. We're going to open up the lines. I want to take some questions in particular if you want to know about something. I think Rob what you mentioned there around that 60, 10, 30, I think a lot of people will have a lot of trouble with. So again, this has probably been you guys being honest back and saying, when I'm doing my planning, and we used to talk about, back in the 2000s, sort of we were doing planning days over 2 days. I'm not quite sure if you've got anything scheduled. If you haven't, diarise it now. How are you going to do your planning? Rob's just given you a really good structure to that. But I've got some questions that I'd like to ask as well, but I'm going to open it up. Anyone?
Yeah, Jancy, before we do that, just to give you a bit of quick follow-up, I want you, I'll put the link in the chat. That was pretty quick, right? And to do that, we've got this online quiz.
Yes, good.
So we'll get you the link. And so you're basically going to answer, well, how well have we done that strategy, right? We're a 6 on that one. What's the next one? We're a 7 on that one. 3 on that one, and so on and so forth, right? So you answer these truthfully, and then what happens is auto-magically, this appears in your inbox. And that is a 48-page report. It takes only a few minutes to answer the questions, but a 48-page report that will give you a score out of 400 on the 40 state strategies. It'll give you a summary, but then most importantly, we wrote a bunch of content here. So it depends on where you scored in the band. It'll highlight, okay, this is where you're at. This is what you do next, right? This is where you're at. This is what you do next. All free. So it goes through all 40, gives a bunch, it doesn't matter where you are, gives a bunch of content on what happens next in this journey of sorting this firm. So as part of your planning, I'd encourage you to do that as well.
Absolutely sensational. So there's a little bonus that I didn't know up until sort of Rob and I spoke about an hour ago. I didn't understand the detail of it, but there's a little bonus, a little Christmas gift to everyone that's joined us, to you guys actually doing that, dedicating the time, filling that out, you get your report, and it's got some recommendations and tips on there, and it's free. So
I've just put a link in the chat there. Yeah.
Beautiful. You probably thought you were going to get a copy of the book, which is also available. It's not one or the other. Jump online and have a look at it. You can download the PDF version of the book. But let's open up this to have some discussion here. Has anyone got a question to Robbo?
Baylor's mentioned buzzword in the market is advisory. The definition of that word is broad. Yep. And also about having the client, the right network to offer client services. Our goal, make sure clients' goals met. We don't have to do it themselves. Yeah, cool. So I just wanted to unpack that a little bit more for you. And I learned this from an accountant, actually. You learn a lot from accountants if you just got your eyes and ears open. I changed accountants 13 years ago, since changed just a few months back in June. And the new accountant, after being with a sole practitioner, sat my wife and I down and said, so what do you got going on? And so we explained, we drew things on the wall, the board, and then Matt said, so okay, that's right. Where do you want to go? And he drew this little T on the flip chart on the whiteboard. Rob, Natalie's my wife. What are your goals? And he says, Nat, you're going first, right? Because I typically dominate the meeting. And she lists out a bunch of goals. And the final question he asked her was, is one of your goals still to be with him? This is meeting one with the accountant.
No.
I thought, you cheeky bugger, right? And then, but what he did, he said, okay, Rob, what are your goals? He didn't ask me the same question about her. And so anyway, and then he did the following, which I thought was brilliant, sort of to back this up, right? He highlighted one of the whiteboards and then the goals. He said the following: our goal is to help you become financially well organized. You will not achieve your goals, points to the mess, while ever you're financially disorganized. So the first project we need to do with you, Rob, is to get you financially well organized. And every couple of years we did that. Every couple of years he'd pull out the goals list. How are we tracking, guys? How are we tracking, guys? I thought, that's awesome. Isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely.
Matching services?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's been proactive.
Yeah, totally.
Well said. Well done.
Luke says, how do you encourage old school companies to embrace technology as opposed to continue to live in their paper and spreadsheet world? Well, hopefully COVID's helped you with that, Luke. But man, you got to set some rules. you know, Nick Sinclair, who runs the Outsourced Accountant, when he had an accounting firm on the Gold Coast many years ago, I put Nick on a stage and he told a story. And this is actually how the Outsourced Accountant started. Some
So
years
true,
of service.
so true, so true.
Yeah, it started on my stage. He said, what I did, I bought every client who didn't have a scanner, right? I insisted they must be all on zero, 100% zero shop. He said, and he said to the clients, you either scan it and send it in. If you bring it on paper, it's double the price, right? Here's a free scanner for you and we'll show you to use it. So Luke, he took charge and said, no, it's my business, not your business. This is the way we're doing it here. Otherwise, not a client of the firm anymore.
Great tip. And you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and just ask questions. It doesn't need to go through the chat bar as well.
Yeah.
All
Who wants to know something?
Let me go to page 2. Anyone there? Anyone else like to ask a question?
Yeah, Rob, you spoke about getting, if you wouldn't rehire them instantly, getting rid of them.
So what I said was, Nathan, if you wouldn't enthusiastically.
I knew there was a good word in there. Yep.
Yeah.
Enthusiastically rehiring people who've got the same phobia of technology. Any tips to bring them up to speed?
People who've got a phobia of technology?
Changing things. We are accountants. We are inherently conservative. We know there's better ways to do it.
Look, I take a bit of a brutal approach. Coach them first, and if they don't stack up, then fire them.
Awesome.
I know that doesn't help you much, but the thing is, okay, let's talk. I think we're all from Australia, Paul. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, Australia employs 100,000 accountants. Australia. Then you've got the Manila machine, as I call it, in the Philippines, right? Then you've got other countries. You should only have A-class players who play by your rules.
Yep.
And I think that's such an important point, because you go back to Rob's 5 steps. You're designing this, and I know most of you aren't designing it from scratch, but you've got the ability to start with a blank piece of paper and say, what do you want this to look like? And how do you want to design this for the future? So don't do the same old shit if you want a different result. That's probably the key thing. And that's the message. So we've gone through a really tough 2020, certainly firms and businesses in Melbourne, Victoria have been a lot harder. We've been a lot more harder hit than certainly Queensland. I don't know if you guys were hit at all, but you know, it seems like freedom from day one. But so we've gone through different times. I've even had people, and seriously, to all of you online, I've even had firms we're working with who have had heart attacks and had really big health scares. So these are the sorts of things that have rocked our world in 2020. And the reason why I wanted to close the year with Rob was about how we redesign that for 2021 and beyond, because nothing's forever, but we've got to design it the way that you want to have it. And that's the challenge that all of you have got the ability to change rather than accept what you're still in.
And be selfish about it. Far out. Most of your partners, I presume, every team member you've got will leave, Nathan. They all leave, right? They all leave, right? Who's always left? You, right? So design it your way.
Yeah.
I'm leaving now.
Yeah, sure. See ya.
How's that? Team, any other questions? Because I think it's a good opportunity to ask Rob if there's anything there. But I think sort of one of the things as well, Rob, that you used to talk about years ago at some of the conferences that you used to talk about, and you used to hand them out. Remember, you used to hand out your little container. Did anyone ever get the container of little courage pills? There they are. Here we go. So I used to hand out courage pills. So again, you might just quickly cover that off, mate.
Yeah, look, to make changes, whether it be a pricing change, a team member, a client, anything, right? It takes courage. And I get it. The challenge you've got for most of you is it's comfortable in the accounting profession. You've been you are now pandemic proof. Let's face it, right? You didn't really get knocked around in the GFC, so you're GFC proof, and now you're pandemic proof. You're still all here. Some of your clients are not. And that's comforting, but comfortable often breeds apathy, right? Apathy breeds no change. If you're comfortable, great, cool. But if you're uncomfortable, then we need to make some changes. And that's why I started with the bucket list, the goals list, right? What does the lifelong list look like? I've ticked off 8 this year. One surprise one was the publications, right? 8 this year. My wall of hats is a bucket list item. It's going to take, when we fly again, another 8 to 10 years to do it, right? When we can travel again. But I start with that. And if that list, and the second piece being your financial retirement number, if those 2 items, right, don't get you excited, don't get you motivated, then nothing in the last 40 minutes will. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
No strategy that you want to implement, because any strategy you want to implement takes pain, technology, people, clients, got to fire this one, do that. It hurts, right? So if you're comfortable, then don't do a thing. Well, mind you, your firm will dwindle away, but if that list, that bucket list, and that financial retirement number, and according to the financial experts, it's 24 times of net wealth, of cash producing assets that you need, 24 times your ideal living income, right, is the number. If those 2 don't go, you know what, my level of pissed offedness is too high right now, I need to remove this crap, then nothing will.
100%. Now, just in closing, mate, so well said. There's a question there for Malcolm that talks about, is there anything that we can learn from the US? And I know when I spent time over there, it was an interesting market, the way that obviously their cycles run. And again, there's a lot of health issues there with the way that their cycles run. Is there anything that we can learn from the US?
Yeah, one bad thing, but it's also a good thing. I've never seen an accounting profession market actually work so hard. We in Australia, now this is good and bad, right?
Yeah.
We in Australia look lazy compared to the Americans. Now, it's good and bad. The work ethic is there, but it's too much. It's way too much.
Way too much.
Way too much. What I've found with the US, and I love working in the US, is that they work hard, right? Number one. But the biggest thing, they have a success mindset. It's, you know, I've got a client, they're a great firm. They're 5.5 million, 2-partner firm, 58% profit, cranking it, right? Cranking it. And they love cars. One of them's got 12 cars. And over dinner one night, I said to Jason, you know, in Australia, we've got this thing called the tall poppy syndrome. And he couldn't get his head around it, could not work out what I was talking about. He said, what do you mean? I got 12 cars. I tell people I got 12 cars, right? And, but they're wired up differently. What they've been lacking, so they're already wired up for success achievement, right? So for example, and this is motivation, I'll talk to a firm in Australia. Okay, what's your revenue? 2 mil. All right, cool. What's your goal? Oh, 2.5. I'll talk to a firm in the US. What's your goal? What's your revenue? 2 mil. What's your goal? 10, 20. They're prepared. They've got a different thought process going into it, and they implement fast. That's what I've learned from the US. It's been exciting to watch.
Brilliant.
All righty. Couple of things where you can get the book. I'll just put this up on a slide, Jancy.
Yeah, thanks,
I'll
Rob.
send you the slides as well so you can share them too.
Thanks, mate.
The book you can get off robnixon.com. I gave you the Profit Time Index report, so get that there. We're going to rename it, but the URL point. And then if you want to communicate, send me an email, rob@robnixon.com, and we can start a conversation if that's what you want.
Absolutely magnificent. Thanks, mate. Look, I always knew that, you know, everything that you bring, again, it's got the passion, it's got the different twist to it, every single thing. And that's why, you know, when we first started talking about this, and we did our podcast a few months ago, and it's like, how do I bring this to more and more firms and sharing this message? Because it is a really valuable message. And you know, there's usually 1 or 2 things that I look to learn from every single person that I chat to. And again, you've probably, to everyone on the line, there's probably 20 things there. And there's different businesses as well as accounting firms on the line. So
okay,
if you're an accounting firm, there's more than 1 or 2 or 3 that you can take away, not to mention the free session that Rob's doing and doing that assessment, again, the report as well.
Yeah.
So Mate, thank you very much for joining us. I think everyone, there's all sorts of different comments there about the level of knowledge and expertise, and obviously what you've been able to share. So thank you. Danny, would you like to wrap up, or do you want me to keep going?
You can keep going, PJ. Go for it. Don't stop there.
Yeah, one thing you'll find with Rob and I, it's hard to shut us up. So
We're happy to listen to you.
To everyone that's joined us, thank you very much. Throughout 2020, it's been a tough year. So, we certainly enjoyed presenting these to you. We're going to continue them in 2021 with a whole series of different guests. We'll bring back others that have done great things, and they'll continue to share their stories as well, and knowledge and expertise. But to all of you guys, you've stuck by us, you've come back, there's been new people. We just want to say thank you. Have a wonderful, I know what's today, the 4th, which is ridiculous. We've got 21 days until Christmas. I'm sure everyone's planning a nice break. Certainly here in Melbourne, we definitely are, because we can actually get out of our little city here. So we're looking forward to getting out. But to everyone else that's joined us, thank you very much. Rob Nixon, thank you very much.
Happy Christmas.
Have a wonderful weekend, and happy Christmas to everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Danny.